y'all, and welcome to my channel. I wanted to come on and make a video today because I found a tag that I really wanted to do, and I thought it would be fun to make a video all about. So the tag I'm going to do today is called the 90s tag. Woohoo! I was born in 1985, so I feel like I've kind of grew up when the 90s were a big, and when Nickelodeon was really cool. So I feel like I'm definitely able to answer these questions and have some really good answers to these questions. So let's get started. Question number 1 says, favorite TV show? When I was growing up, I watched a lot of Full House. I watched a lot of Saved by the Bell. I still watch those things. Full House and Saved by the Bell, but really anything else on Nickelodeon. When I was growing up, Nickelodeon was like the channel. So I watched a lot of Clarissa Explains It All, Doug, Pete and Pete, anything on Snick, Roundhouse, Are You Afraid of the Dark, all that. Any of those shows that were on Nickelodeon around those times were definitely things that I was watching. Question number 2 says, favorite toy? I don't remember if I had a favorite toy, but one of the things that was really popular when I was in elementary school maybe were Pogs. If you remember what Pogs were, they were pieces of cardboard that were truly about that size, and the cool thing was to trade them and kind of flip them and play games with your friends. That was a cool thing. I had a big tube that I could store all my Pogs in. Also, something I had was called Puppy Surprise, and it was basically a stuffed animal puppy, and I think they had Kitty Surprise too. They had Puppy Surprise, and you can open its belly and take out however many puppies the mom had, and it was always a surprise how many puppies you got in your puppy. So those were kind of things that I enjoyed playing with. I was really into stuffed animals. Question number 3, favorite commercial. My favorite commercial was one, I think, for Blow Pops, and it was a commercial of kids who were making a commercial for Blow Pops, and they went through like all the different flavors of Blow Pops, and I don't know why that was my favorite, but I always just kind of think about that one. Question number 4, NSync or Backstreet Boys? I was definitely an NSync person. Sorry, Backstreet Boys fans, but I was definitely more into NSync than Backstreet Boys. Question number 5, weirdest fashion trend. The weirdest fashion trend, probably not that weird, were fanny packs, and I know fanny has a different meaning, but fanny packs were the little bags with zippers that you could wear on your front or like on your side or on your back, pretty much wherever you wanted to wear them and keep your things in. Another one that's probably not very weird either were scrunchies. Scrunchies were really cool to wear. So I think scrunchies are coming back now, but they're just kind of big, really fluffy ponytail holders. And when I spent some days and nights over at my grandparents' house for like sleepovers, we would make scrunchies. We would make my own custom scrunchies. So that was probably a weird fashion trend. Favorite collectibles. Let's see. Number 6, favorite collectibles, probably Pogs. Like I talked about, Pogs were really cool, or else Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were also really popular. I think that was it. I don't remember really any collectibles. Number 7, funny enough, favorite Beanie Baby. I always remember wanting the yellow duck, and I think his name was Quackers, or else the moose, and I can't tell you his name, but the moose, the only thing I remember about him is that his antlers were orange. I don't remember his name, but those are like my 2 favorite Beanie Babies that I can think of. I know I can probably find both of those on like eBay now, but at the time those were definitely my favorite. The next question is number 8. How many Tamagotchis did you go through? I was all about Tamagotchis, not so much Nano Pets or Giga Pets. I was all about Tamagotchis. I want to say maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5. Because what I would do is I always would have my Tamagotchis going at the same time, and I would try to keep them alive all at the same time. I would put them all on one keychain and kind of carry them around all together and try to pay attention to all of them at the very same time. It didn't ever work, but it was the coolest thing, and it was cool to have like a little keychain with all the little eggs on it. Number 9, favorite game console. My favorite game console was definitely the Nintendo NES first original system. My brother's room was like kind of directly on the corner next to mine, and the TV and the Nintendo was in his room. And so when my parents were asleep, I would always sneak out of bed and try to play Nintendo at night. We had a big blue beanbag that we would always play Nintendo on, so definitely the Nintendo system. Question number 10. Favorite Disney movie. My favorite Disney movie, probably now and forever, because I'm big on the Disney princesses, was Ariel. I love The Little Mermaid very, very much. But kind of now, looking back on it, one of my favorite Disney movies was a Goofy movie. It's definitely one that is not more of the popular ones, but I love it. I love the songs, and it's just funny and kind of stupid at the same time. But I love the music and the songs, and it's a really great kind of underrated Disney movie. Question number 11, favorite music artist. This is one I was kind of excited about. Favorite music artist, definitely, like I said, NSync. I had a bunch of the NSync CDs, but also another one of my favorite music artists was Ace of Base, the I Saw the Sign song. If you know that one, I really liked Ace of Base. And like I said, NSync. Those are kind of the cool things that I listen to. Question number 12. Favorite Nick Jr. show. This kind of goes back a little bit farther. My favorite Nick Jr. show was probably Gullah Gullah Island, Allegra's Window, and a little bit later, Blue's Clues. I love Blue's Clues. I used to have this little blue doll that was stuffed, and when you push his paw, it went row, 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 and it was really cool. So shout out if you remember Gullah Gullah Island and Allegra's Window, because those were the best. Favorite candy, number 13. My favorite candy probably hasn't changed. It's definitely still Sour Patch Kids. I love anything sour. Favorite game, favorite board game, number 14. My favorite board game was one that I had called Mall Madness, and it was a board, and then it had little plastic buildings that you can set on top, so it was supposed to look like a mall. And I can't even remember what the point of the game was, but I think you had to like shop through the mall and use your credit card. I don't even remember what the point of the game was, but I definitely remember Mall Madness. And then another one that I had was called Mousetrap. And Mousetrap, I think you had a little mouse and you had to go around and get cheese maybe, and I don't even remember. But then at the very end, there was kind of a maze that your mouse had to go through. The problem with Mousetrap was that it always took a really long time to set kind of the maze up, and then after you did all that, it wasn't as fun to play anymore. Like, you were kind of over it. So, but definitely Mall Madness and Mousetrap if you had enough patience to set up the board. Question number 15. Favorite McDonald's Happy Meal toy. My favorite McDonald's Happy Meal toy might definitely have to be Beanie Babies. They used to have little, I think they were called Teeny Beanie Babies. Teeny Beanie Babies that came in Happy Meal toys. Or else around Halloween time, they used to give out buckets for trick-or-treating. So they would put all the food inside, and once you were done with the food, you could use your bucket to go trick-or-treating with. And I think they've done that before since. But definitely, I always thought that was the coolest, when you got a little bucket to go trick-or-treating. Question number 16. Favorite book. My favorite book, it was a series of books called The Boxcar Children. And I think it was basically about some kids who lived in a train boxcar, and then they eventually, maybe in the first book, got adopted, and I think they kind of solved mysteries or solved crimes. But definitely the Boxcar Children's series. Those were always my favorite. Question number 17. Was your favorite clothing store? This is probably kind of boring, but my favorite clothing store was Target or Target, however you want to say it. When I was little, my grandmother and I would go to Target and she would buy me a first day of school outfit. So that was always kind of cool for me, was going to buy a first day of school outfit from Target. I always felt really cool doing that. So definitely Target was my favorite store growing up. When I was really little, I would go to Oshkosh Bagosh, but definitely Target. And finally, number 18, what would you watch when you got home from school? When I got home from school, one of my favorite shows to watch was Tiny Toon Adventures. I would get off the bus and I would go to my friend's house and we would watch Tiny Toon Adventures before I would go home. It's definitely kind of a weird cartoon looking back on it now, but that was definitely my favorite thing to watch when I got home from school was Tiny Toon Adventures, of all things. So that is all the questions. I'm going to put all the questions down below. So if you are a 90s kid and want to answer these questions for yourself, you can do just that. If you've somehow found my channel and watched all this video, hello and thank you for watching. And that's all from me. I'll see y'all later. Toodles!